Do y'all remember Antonio Margarita? Super heavy puncher, volume puncher. You don't have guys that have that kind of offensive prowess and power at the same time, but throw a lot of punches. That's exactly what I'm about to get into. How he interrupted and basically ended my fighter's career. That's what we're about to talk about. And how can you overcome a situation like that in the sport of boxing and get to the highest level of it? All right. That's kind of what it is. But before I get started, make sure you let me know exactly where it is you're watching from. It's my birthday week, and I wanted to make sure that I equipped you all with all of the arsenal that you'll need if you're thinking about even considering working with someone in the sport of boxing or actually competing yourself. Or if you're just a fan, welcome to the Fight Show. This is just my birthday week. I told you guys I was going to feed you that smoke all week long, and that's exactly what I'm doing. So let me take it back to this fighter. Antonio Margarita was one of the most violent boxers in the welterweight division. He fought one of my guys, Paul the Punisher Williams, back in, I don't know, it was definitely before 2010. Before that, I was in Paul Williams, his coach, Junebug. We were in a bout that was hosted on the East Coast, and that was my first time meeting Junebug. But this funny story about Junebug, he was very up to date with things. Special shouts out to you, my brother, South Carolina in the building. Special shouts out to South Carolina. Special shouts out to my people out in, is that Texas? Yeah, Texas is in the house. Special shouts out. But this is when I was a young buck, right? And one thing I learned about boxing is always be around people that were older, that had more experience in it, because that will be the thing that takes you and places you into really what is boxing. Because you probably watched it on TV, you might have been in the amateurs. Professional boxing is a whole different act. It's a different animal. So I was there. Junebug was there. He was getting his stuff prepped. So there was this bucket that he had, and it was plastic, and he popped it open, and he created this little blender. It was a handheld blender. He put it in, and right before the fights were going on, he mixed his drink up, right? And he wasn't working with Paul Williams that night, but the fighter that he had was over in the blue corner, like our guy. So I just wanted to learn. So he was showing me some stuff, and I said, "Where'd you get that thing?" He was like, "Out in California." He said, "I just left from out there." And a professional coach is a professional coach. That's all he does. Now, there are guys who show up at the gym and they train guys and stuff like that. But Junebug was an actual every night, every fight, he's there in the corner. So I'm like, I'm going to strip as many pearls of wisdom from this guy as I can while I'm here tonight. Because when you're doing this, it matters who you've been with. So as he proceeded to do his thing, he gave it to his fighter right before the fight. So there's a time variance that has to happen when you are working with athletes. And if you bring a fighter, one thing you don't know about boxing is you get a professional fighter. He comes to your gym. You never work with a professional fighter. You know nothing about the process and procedure. You don't know that there's an actual time that he can consume. And if he does anything past that time, it's going to impact his fight. And if he does something too soon, it's going to impact the way he can fight, literally. So commission comes in. He times the drink. The fighter times the nap. And he gets his hands wrapped. The other guy comes in. The other coach comes into the corner, into the dressing room. And Junebug and those guys, if you got any questions, let me know what you want to know. Salute back. Everything is all good. Newark in the building. Shakur Stevens land. So he goes out, they dominate, they win a decision, just seeing behind the scenes. And three or four of the giants in boxing, I'm not saying Customato, but at that level. Old heads. I knew right then that I was in the right place because the hair on my arm stood up because I was in a place that only people with license can be. And these guys had done generational work. So it kind of lets you know in the sport, no matter what profession you're in, you can be someone that's prolific in AI. It doesn't matter. It's about being in the circle where people are further ahead than you. And when I got an opportunity to sit back and watch these guys work, and one of them had a brim on, so I went and got me a brim because that just looks like boxing. And he was schooling me about some things. He was just like, young man, you're here, you're young, and in order for you to be here, somebody must really think a lot of you. Because I looked like I was probably 20, but I was actually 35. And that was a compliment to me because he knew that this game had a lot of things. So he took me around before the fight jumps off. He took me around and he really showed me a lot of things that you would never learn because in boxing, what you got to be prepared for, and especially if you're not inside of the sport, you got to be prepared for not knowing. They're not going to tell people in boxing won't tell you shit. Like they won't volunteer information that you need to know. And there are a lot of different layers to it. You got the commissions, things you have to deal with, all of the pre-fight testings and process and procedure is everything. Some of you coaches, you're so focused on being in the gym doing pad work, you're not learning the sport. Therefore, you definitely can't benefit from the business. So that's what my job is to give you the behind the scoops. That's the main reason I ended up writing 29, but it's 27 books currently done, complete that I've written. And there are two coming out because it's the inside of boxing. It's what you don't know. It's not on YouTube. It's not anywhere. It's not when you walk out on the floor when you're at the event. It's inside of these old dudes' head. And the guy comes out. So our guy fights that night. We fight up against a real big beast. Ron Bellamy. He was 6'8". And needless to say, it was one of the first opportunities that I got to see real gladiator heavyweight kind of dudes that come and bump head to head. We get a 6-round knockout. To see someone 6'8" eat an uppercut and get knocked out unconscious, and I got it on VHS tape. I love reliving some of this stuff, but someone out there, if you have a VHS converter, because I got a converter, the thing about it is all stored away. So if you do, I give you some of the most prolific behind the scenes stuff in boxing that you ever could. So let me know if anybody out there got one of those. And so my guy slips over to the side, boom. But we learn in boxing. What you don't know about me is I'm not a boxing coach because I can get in your head and coach you up. I was a tacticianer. So that's why I got to be in so many different camps, over 40 championship camps that I got to be in, from amateurs to pros, MMA as well. And I'm an advisor for a lot of guys, and I'm strategic partner with many guys. Some of the fights have recently been pay-per-view strategic. And what comes from that is I get to play around with the game from a distance now, and I can oversee things and I see where people need help. And I'm not going to say who I recently have been reached out to, but the admins on my page were like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to respond to this guy. Let's just say he's the best at what he's doing right now. And they messaged the page, and it's my responsibility to help guys where they are. And just like I'm trying to help with your career, if you're going in that direction or considering it, or if you're there and you're in, especially if you're martial arts, you're not going to learn shit. They're not going to teach you anything. You can get a boxing coach and he's going to tell you what he wants you to do that day, but he's not going to give you the actual game. You know why? Because not even the people in boxing who really down for you will give you the game. Let me make my thing get it back focused. Hold up 1 second. Got to make sure my thing is right. There you go. But what's so important that you got to know is we get through the fight, everything was beautiful. But when you're doing this, it's really important that you guys take liberty to find a person, especially if you're coming into the sport. Man, my damn thing is not clear. Is that you find, sorry, but I can't do it with blurry background. There we go. Boom. If you are with someone, there's a lot of different people who have places for you to go and learn. All right. That wasn't available when I was coming up. So I had to really, if you didn't tell me or if I didn't see it, if I wasn't in a circle, then you won't go learn it. Now, I want to know exactly where you are and who's out there watching that's actually in the sport, whether you're in martial arts or if you're in boxing, because this is really powerful stuff for you that you can use. But I'm going to go all the way back to the beginning of the story, which is Antonio Margarita. So, my guy is a contender, right? He's we've had him in camps with Sugar Shane Mosley. We've had him in camp with he was actually going to be in camp with Floyd, but Manny Pacquiao, um, what's his name? He was in Angulo was undefeated then. I mean, so we had a very profound, you know, experience with world champion after world champion, world champion. So what happened is when Antonio Margarita was going to fight Cotto the second time. No, it wasn't Antonio It was Antonio when he was going to fight before he got caught with Sugar Shane Mosley with the plaster. He was in training camp, and it might have been for the Paul Williams fight that we helped him out, and he cracked my guy orbital bone because they was wrapping their hands with plaster apparel in camp. In camp, like what's the purpose? Because my fighter was very slick. You know, he was a slick fighter. You see that? Where you see me do that? You know, I got that from my mentor, but Shad was the nicest because he was doing it in the ring against people who matter. He wasn't just shadow boxing like my black tail. He was in there, and that's the main reason Manny Pacquiao and Freddie Roach had him as the staple. He was the reason why Pacquiao beat De La Hoya, why Pacquiao beat Margarita, because Shad was the nicest, slickest fighter, period. I put him, his style, his slickness up against even Floyd. The difference was he was meaner, so he wanted to hit you. So he won't trying to elude all night. He wanted to smoke. So when he would fight those individuals, he wasn't trying to make you miss so much. He would take the shot. He knew how to graze it just enough, pop, pop, and come back. And he was from Cincinnati. That's where Adrian Broner and those boys were. So they really are proficient in real style like the Philly Shell esque, but not, it wasn't mature. His was mature because he was an actual killer inside of that boxing ring. When Antonio Margarita did that, it was the second time Rashad's orbital bone got cracked. The first time I got it on video. Like I said, if somebody out there that knows how to transition VHS tapes, because I'm old, so I got stuff on VHS. If you can transfer it to DVD, you will see some fire. He gets in there with Les Ralston. And you can pull up Les Ralston. Les Ralston fought Sergio Mora 2005. He was out of our camp. Now, he wasn't trained by me. His father trained him, but he was a heavy hitter. I mean, he moved like Jack Dempsey did. So he was really like this. And bam, bam. And we all know now, this was on NBC. It was getting ready right after the Olympics. That no, it might have been the Pan Am Games going on right then. Cause it was a lot of boxing happening. So he goes out, and Sergio Mora, we didn't know then, but we know now, was slick, pure boxer, all skills. So he was moving around, setting guy up. Les was getting his ears, he was getting his ears pulled off, is what we called it. But his father was a good trainer. The thing is, sometimes you need a second set of eyes and you need a different style because boxing isn't about power. This kid had a lot of power, but boxing isn't about power. Boxing is about finesse, timing, skill. Seattle's in the building, Tracy in the house. And once you start understanding that, that's where your learning starts. Because if you're on your own and you're trying to learn boxing, you have no idea what you're about to face. And because you don't have any idea. Your fighter definitely ain't gonna know. And you're supposed to be the brain trust. So you either need management, you need agents, you need people. You really do need it because everybody's role is important. But when he went in there, he hurt my guy. Les Ralston went in there and brought the smoke. Les Ralston was the one that hit my guy and cracked his orbital bone the first time. And on video, this is because I recorded everything because we needed to overlook at footage, training footage. When you're in a camp with 3 world champions walking around, 4 or 5 top level amateurs, you done won the national tournaments back to back to back. You got all of these different moving pieces of everybody wants that crown. Everybody in the gym wants that smoke. Then you got Marion Jones, gold medal Olympian, uh, Melissa Barber, gold medal Olympian, Justin Gatlin, gold medal Olympian, Sean Crawford, gold medal Olympian. You got Ray walking through there. We got like 7 gold medals in the gym right now, like just there. So everybody's trying to be the top dog. It's hard to do it when you're around all top dogs. Everybody's in alpha. They base up. I think even Marion Jones was watching that sparring session. He locked in. They box, pop, 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 pop. And what's so beautiful is Rashad only gets hit if he chooses to exchange because his defense is, he can shut you down, right? 5'11 and a half, skilled to death, best pure boxer, defensive prowess. But like I said, he chose to select. So he bite down on his mouthpiece and he'd go in there against a puncher like Les. And Les cracked him. Rashad hit him with a hook right hand. And like 17 seconds later, the reason why I know is because I got a constant clock going off in my head. Because when you coach that much, you know what the clock is. They got to the center of the ring, and it was like you shot through a jab. Les comes over the top with a right hand that was so loud that everybody in the gym stopped at one for pause for like 10 seconds, literally. Even the 2 fighters just stopped and was like, damn, that was hard. And Shy was just like, yo, that was a good ass shot. I mean, you can't make this shit up. You know what I'm saying? Those experiences, knowing how to go to events and stuff, it's important, man. And I laugh and joke, but I talk about these things because these guys aren't fighting now, so I can talk about what went on. But you know, your career is you're only gonna get as far as how much you have around you. So if you don't have shit around you, you're not going anywhere. You can be delusional, but it's not. It really is. It's so much that you don't know Like I've written 27 books and 29 is coming out. That's just the precipice of it. I wrote everything that was necessary to know. And I that's what my guys feed on in our school. So with that being said, Shad's career had to end, but not before I was able to put him in front of an investor who was willing to invest 120K to sponsor him. But the only thing he had to do, I had to be honest. I said he's shy. He's punch shy right now because he had a second. It didn't even phase him the first time. Meant to get back to that. He didn't even. It wasn't even phased. I mean, he literally ate the punch. It was like, all right, come on, let's get this smoke, and went back in. Had fights. Was like 12-0. Got to this place where doubt settled in. He wasn't throwing that punch anymore. He wasn't delivering. I said, "Hey, man, if worst case scenario, you just attack the body because you can't fight these guys, you know, because he had an elbow injury too, which continued to pronounce itself. So that's why understanding how to develop your body physically, ligaments, your joints and stuff is important because I don't give a shit what you do with weightlifting. That doesn't develop your body for punching. You know, weightlifting is for weightlifting and lifting weights. Punching, you got to do an entire different regime, right? So I told him, and the investor, because I know how to go out there and get money. And I told him, my guy is punch shy. We got to see how he perform. If he perform right, I'll let the deal happen because I can go and get money. And our guy, we fought on ESPN, right? He went up there, and that's where one of those pictures that you see of me out in social media. I'm working the corner, but like I said, I'm the brain trust. I'm the guy who, hey, this is what needs to happen because there's a coach who can coach you up, but there's me who understands how to get inside of you and get to where you are and meet you where you're at and pull you from that place. Like when you guys just saw Jermell Charlo, he was in a place. See, technique and skill and telling the guy what to do, that doesn't work then. And what I do, that's not teachable, but I try to show guys how to get into a person. They call me the thug whisperer. Like I can make a person do things that he never thought he could do, at least at that time. And I've always had that ability. You know, I've always been able to pull you to where you need to be. That's a gift. You can't just have that as a coach. If your biggest focus is technique and all that stuff, that doesn't come with that. Like that's not in the handbook. They're not going to teach you that. You can't be taught that. That has to be inside of you. Now, can we tap into it? Can I make you better by telling you things that I would do? Because I got called on the spot. So during those situations, you got to get to where the fighter is. There are traumas that surface in a fighter that happened to him in his life. And sometimes when he's in that fight, that thing is surfacing and he doesn't even know it. It's a feeling. It takes over you emotionally and then you're inside of your physiology. And that's where you end up going out there and not being able to figure out why you couldn't throw a punch. Why can't I let my hands go? And that's powerful. What's up, champ? But these are things that are so profound that you need to say, how do I get over that? How can I help a guy in that situation? Because that's going to happen to you. Your guy's going to be that guy one night where you don't know who he is because he's not going to show up. That 6th round, 7th round, 8th round, you're going to be like, where my guy? And you're going to not know where he is. That's what I was dealing with my guy. Now, I'm his advisor, so I'm there. And I understand medical, so I was his cut man too. But I'm his guy, I'm his boy, I'm his man. We going out doing deals together. I'm bringing money. When he went out, He fought against a guy who was not on his level. And so this is what's so profound about really not knowing and understanding what happens to a fighter when he gets gun shy. And I'm talking the toughest man you will ever meet. Why? Because he was in camp with Manny Pacquiao for years. I seen him get hit harder than anybody has ever been hit and stayed up. This was one of them Shane Mosley, Floyd Mayweather punches, and it was loud, and he didn't even shake. He just was like, gave him, touched the glove. That was a good shot, and kept going to get it. And imagine being in the ring with Manny in 2006 and 7 and 8 and 9 when he was blasting guys. That's when we knew that this kid was special. But the thing is, somebody can take your career away if you don't know what you're doing. And that's what happens. So there's just a lot of protocol in boxing. But when he performed that night and he barely got this victory, it might even have been a draw that night. We knew that was it, the 120,000 on the table. And that was just for starters because the people that I brought in were hedge fund people, meaning they got generational money. They 4 or 5 generations deep with American wealth, blue blood families. And so I knew immediately that was it. And you got to be prepared for things and you got to focus on preventing. And so I was an actual, like I said, I am a tactician. I can look at your fighter and tell them or you what you need to do with them or else. Because if I look at them, see, that was my gift. My God-given ability, and this is not bragging on myself, but I know what my thing is I'm mechanically inclined. So I can take any style and turn it into a system. I can take any skill and turn it into a style. I can, and it doesn't matter what sport. I can go look like I can play baseball crazy. I can definitely play football. That's why they recruited me in the NFL to operate and teach their guys what I know. You don't get those calls if you don't know what the hell you're doing. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Like, and I didn't even try. They called for me. You are special when you commit to what you're trying to do. And when you're trying to do something special, you have to go and do the things that's relevant. And this is my birthday week. And I'm sharing these kind of thoughts because this is what I deal with. The reason why I got calls and opt-ins to come and work with people for WBC championships, Kenny Porter being one. Like the world-class guys, the top people in the world. That's only a testament to what you do and how you operate. So what you guys are doing, and I'm gonna give you an encouragement, and then I'm gonna get out of here. I want you guys to really work on your social media because you need to really understand building your personal brand. My fighter got the opportunity to overcome that and get an opportunity to work with Tony Ferguson in the UFC. So he got to just his career just took a pivot, and he owns gyms. He's managing other fighters, and it was because that was just kind of like a lucky thing that he was paying attention to me. He was watching, and I don't take credit. He's a smart guy, good looking, got all the shit going on, right location. Proximity is power. If you're living in some fucking city outside of Oklahoma, you don't expect that to happen to you. But he's in Cali. So shit happens. I'm in South Florida. Shit happens. Miami is it. All right. You got to be where shit go on. But do it. Do your social media. That's how you met me. That's how ESPN. I got a job with ESPN. I get offers all the time from major companies. It's because I'm doing my social media. Ask for help. Build your brand. Because when you got a brand, you don't need to work for anybody. I was coming into the NFL as a partner. I was coming on the ESPN as a partner. I was coming and doing uh, deals and endeavors, not as an employee, but as a partner because Master Boxing is a brand. Eric Bradley is a brand. Build your personal brand. If you don't know how to do it, fucking learn, because it's going to be the difference. Because everybody right now, especially with those misfits, every single last one of them is on TV because they got their social media. And the only thing that matters in your life, nobody gives a shit about your skill. They care if you sell tickets. They don't give a crap if Manny Pacquiao or Floyd Mayweather or Muhammad Ali got knocked out in the first round because he sold the tickets, the pay-per-views. That's what matters. When you stop selling tickets, I don't care what your name is. Nothing matters. You can't sell tickets if you don't have an audience. And I hope this makes sense, because I'm talking to somebody out there who's trying to do it and act like you keep ducking it and you keep acting like, well, when you get that contract with the zone, we're dealing with somebody with that contract right now. When you get that big contract with PBC, when you get these big contracts with these, Eddie Hearns, you need to build your brand, because they're going to expect you're going to be making pennies until you can sell tickets. And people need to be wearing your shirt. Like if you come to an event with me, like everybody going to be wearing master boxing joints. Yeah, this is the fight game shirt too. So that's all I tell you. Get on your stuff. Let me know where you're watching from if you haven't already. And thanks again for tuning in on the week of my birthday. If we can help you in the sport of boxing, that's what we're here to do. But until next time, my name is Coach Eric A. Bradley, and I'm out of here. 5,000. I'm about to go, and I'm on my watermelon diet this week. So I'm about to go eat some watermelon because I got to keep myself all nice and lean when I hit. I'll tell you how old I am. 5'4", 54. I'll be in the building this week. Be blessed at God's speed. I love you all. One.